Your focus is one of the only things you control as an entrepreneur, and while every single other one is running circles around you, working only 2 hours a day but making more money, you sit there at your desk for 12 hours every single day completing no work, wondering why you're not successful. And I've went from someone who had so much trauma built up inside his mind, constantly filled with negative thoughts while I was working, which caused me to never see progress in my business, to be able to get into a float and focus for 6+ hours every single day, having the free time to do what I want but still growing my business. Has also helped 50+ entrepreneurs do the same. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you every single truth I've learned from helping all these people achieve this result, helping myself achieve it through the same system I've used every single time. Let's get straight into it. You see, I remember one of the days when I was sitting at my desk in January 2023. I was meant to be working on my copywriting business, which was like this business model that was super popular at the time. Everyone was doing it. But the thing is, the last week was the hardest week of my life. My business wasn't working. I felt so depressed every single day, to the point that I would literally try and do my deep work but cry at the same time. I had problems in school as well that caused my mental health to go down the drain, and I went from this person who was on self-improvement to being this lost soul who almost wanted to end it all at that point, simply because he couldn't take the pain anymore. And so another day begins where I try to work on my business. I sit down at my desk hoping to focus for once in my life, trying to make something of myself while everything in my life is falling apart. But of course, my mind was not having it. It was chaotic. My thoughts were going crazy. I had so many negative thoughts. I would get no work done the entire day because my mind was the biggest enemy. I would be ridden with anxiety, having all these thoughts causing me to not work and focus, and as a result, I saw no progress in my business. I saw all these beginners in the copywriting space make all this money while I couldn't even make $1. I couldn't even sit and focus at a desk for multiple hours in a day. And if you've ever tried to build a business while your mental health is terrible or while your life is falling apart, please do not, bro. It's the worst decision you could probably make. Fix your life first and then try and build a business. You see, if you're an entrepreneur watching this, then you are not normal. You have some kind of trauma inside of your mind that causes you to want to not stay in mediocrity. You want to be able to excel past every single person, but you probably know why you started your business. And when your thoughts are constantly connected to this trauma every single day, this anxiety, you won't work, you won't focus, and you won't see progress in your business, and so your life becomes even worse. And I'll quickly just tell you the reason why this happens. So the reason why you have all these anxious thoughts when you're working specifically is because there's something in your brain called the prefrontal cortex. This part of your brain manages the past, the present, and the future. And what happens is when you're not stimulated in your day, this part of your brain goes crazy. It finally awakens. And this is why some people, when they go in the shower, they have so many thoughts. It's simply because this is the only point in your day where you're not stimulated, and it's the same thing with your work. And this is why you constantly have thoughts about the past. The negative thoughts, the traumatic experiences come back in your mind when you're working, or you're overthinking about the future. You're not in the present moment, and this is why you can't focus. Usually the problem isn't to do with YouTube or scrolling, it's to do with traumatic experiences that come up inside our mind. But luckily for you and for me, there is a way you can actually turn this part of your brain off when you're working, and it's something called a flow state. A flow state is the most optimal experience you can ever experience in your life, and it's so good in fact that scientists have realized that you literally become 500% more productive when you're in a flow state. Because what happens is when your brain is in a flow state, this prefrontal cortex just turns off, because your brain wants to conserve energy, and when it doesn't need parts of the brain, it just shuts them off completely. And this is why I'm able to focus for 6+ hours in a day, because this prefrontal cortex inside my mind turns off for a period of time. So now that you understand why this happens to you, I'm going to go over exactly how to get into a flow state for however long you want in a day. And I've actually made tons of videos on flow states. You know, you can literally just look at my channel. I've made so many. But the one thing I want you to realize if you want to get into a flow state is you need to be 4% in discomfort when you're working. Because one of the golden rules of flow, the flow trigger, like the biggest one, is something called the challenge to skill ratio. And if we want to access the flow channel, which is the flow state, we want to be able to make the challenge of the task 4% harder than our skill levels, because what that does is it engages our skills. It gives us dopamine. So let's say, for example, you work on your business and you complete a small step of the task, and that's going to give off dopamine. You're going to enjoy the work while your prefrontal cortex is turned off. So the first thing to realize is you are going to face discomfort when you go to work. And the only thing I can say in this part of the video is you just need to push through it. If you're not willing to go through a mod amount of discomfort, then bro, you shouldn't be watching my channel. You should be watching Mr. Beast. You need to be able to put yourself through discomfort, have the courage to go through battles. If you don't, you're just gonna lose. You're gonna become like 99% of people. Now my favorite next flow trigger is something called deep embodiment. And this is when you have complete concentration on the task. You feel immersed inside the task. And there's multiple things you can do to actually get into this deep embodiment state. And the things that I do is something called focused breathing and also visualizations. Focused breathing is when you do a set of breaths designed to put your brain into a frequency that it can focus at. And you can research this, you can type it on YouTube, just focused breathing. I like to use an app called Stoic, and I'll just leave a link to this in the description. You can just pick it up on your phone. And the next exercise is something called visualizations, where you close your eyes and you visualize yourself working or reaching a goal. And the point of visualizations is to make it so specific that your brain is forced to take action on the thing, because your brain cannot see the difference between imagination and the reality. And this is the way we trick our brain to thinking that what we visualize inside our mind is actually real. So our brain takes action on it, sees the possibility of you completing the work, so you work. Your mind is very powerful and you need to use this because it really does change your life. Now the final thing you can do to access the flow state, and something very practical you can do right now, not really right now, but the next time you wake up, and it's to literally get straight to work as soon as your eyes open. And I know this sounds crazy because you have this giant morning routine where you go in a cold shower, you have like a 5-mile run, and you come home and then you go to the gym and then you make like this giant bulking shake because you're bulking, right? If you really want to see success in your business, you need to cut that out, because not only does half of your focus points just go out the window, but you won't have the energy to work and get into a flow state either. And the thing is as well, most of the thoughts you have, the negative thoughts, come after you do some kind of habit. Because who do you think is going to be more productive? Who do you think is going to have less thoughts? The person that gets straight to work and literally does nothing before that, or the person that scrolls for half an hour and generates so many, like thousands of thoughts in a matter of a few minutes? Of course the first person is going to get into a flow state, because his brain does not have anything to think about that's happened in his day yet. All he can think about is the work. And when you're constantly obsessing over the work, you start to do it more. Thoughts lead to action. Action leads to you getting into a flow state. This is what we want to achieve. So I'm going to give you this actionable step you can do right now. And I want you to do this. Otherwise, you can just give up, man. Like, honestly, just go and watch the next Mr. Beast video. Because the thing is, the entrepreneurs that are going to win are going to take this actionable step. I want you to literally tomorrow work as soon as you wake up, 5 to 15 minutes from when you wake up. I like to do focus breathing before then and complete the highest priority task in your day, and I guarantee you will get into a flow state. Every single person I've coached has implemented this and have literally got straight to work. I'm not even joking. So that is exactly how to get into a flow state. And if you really want to get rid of these negative thoughts, these anxious thoughts, and when you're working and you just can't focus because of it, please just do these things and it will really save your life. And by the way, if you're an entrepreneur who wants to get into a flow state for 6+ hours every single day and achieve that within a few days, get personal advice from me. Click the first thing in the description to join my free community. Goodbye, have a nice day. You'll get it on the face again. Goodbye.